Bindhani, State Information Commissioner, SIC Odisha. Particularly jo in absentia, she has to join now. My esteemed colleagues, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege for me to welcome all of you to this meeting, which is a national workshop on right to information in right time. And I will be very brief in my talk. I have only two responsibilities. Number one, to introduce our guests to all of you, and second, to talk briefly about the theme of the workshop. Regarding Madam Shashi Prabha Bindhani, during her talk, she will give her own introduction, because so many things I don't know myself. Only I know that starting with philosophy to law to social activism, social development, government, budgeting, finance, social welfare to RTI. This is our journey in last 30 to 40 years. She has been very active both within and outside India. She has traveled widely, and the topic of today's workshop is actually suggested by her, and we have just accepted that suggestion that it should be right information, right time. And let me tell you how this workshop is going to happen. We'll have 1 hour session of introduction, this talk. After that, teachers from different departments will present RTI experience in different states of India. Then an open house in which all of you are requested to participate. You can give your viewpoints, opinions, ask questions, queries, and we'll interact. And during the speech by Madam Bindhani, if you want any kind of discussion, just have it, make a note, and in the end of it, we'll have discussion, not in between. We'll have all the presentations, then discussion. Now, regarding the theme, the other day, all of us listened to Honorable Vice President of India in MJD Auditorium, and I think that has also come in Facebook post. So, taking a cue from that, I will just take 5 things, A, B, C, D, E about RTI. Very few, only 5 sentences. Let's start with A. A stands for awareness about right to information and accountability on the part of authorities, government, administration, bureaucrat, and the people in the position of power. That is A of RTI. Then B. B for transparency in budgeting. Bureaucracy to be effective and efficient, so that RTI can be a reality. That is B. Then C. C has so many things, but one important thing is, it is two-way communication between the government, authorities, and the citizens. Two-way communication. And also, it also means by commitment of the people and the people in government, how we can eradicate or minimize another C, that is corruption. That is C of it. Then D. If we have a dynamic system of managing right information, the dynamic system will lead to development and democratic ethos in our country. That is the D of it. And last one is E. We are here to evaluate right information. Many people say, but another E also required here. Before evaluating, please think right to information is a journey. It is not the destination. So you have to think about evolution. It evolves. Every day we learn. Now today it is 12 years and 7 months of RTA Act in India, October 2005. So in 12 years and 5 months, what has happened? The evolution, the journey continues. We have to think about that journey. So while evaluating, we should also know that this is evolution. Every day we evolve. We try to manage our affairs in the best interest of the society and the state. I think we have got many opportunities in the classroom or otherwise to speak, so today I should not speak more. So with these very few words, I again welcome Madam Sachipura Bindani, our esteemed Dean, Professor Jokai Flungi, my esteemed colleagues and all of you to this national workshop on right information in right time. Thank you very much. Now, it's a pleasure to invite Professor Jokai Flungi, Dean, School of Social Sciences, to give speech. Madam.
Thank you so much. It's a great privilege for me to stand before you and to welcome again on behalf of the School of Social Sciences, Madam Mrs. Sachipura Bindani. It's a beautiful name. So I think they told me that so many, many that Orissa, many people had them, but I know only a few. They are very good. All of them are very good. I can predict that. That's a distinguished guest, Madam also is going all the way coming, especially for us to share us about, because he has 36 years experiences on this area. So we are very lucky. So I will move on. I know that all of us will benefit in your presence. So yes, and I'm very happy that especially this department, public administration, especially this professor of P.A is my senior, but she's still very active in all kind of with all of those that. So he set an example for us, a model. And that's my colleague and my dear students. So we are very lucky to have together here. Especially, I always thought about that, that right to information and right time. Okay, so it's very appealing. But before that, being a psychologist, I always talk about that right information. How important is the right information? And because of that, if you could not get the right information, more things in the right time is really special. And because of that, we could not get that right information, and so many speculations can happen, and misinterpretation can happen. It always happens like that, and then truth about illusion also can happen there, and that disturb our psychological well-being. And because of that, we have different opinion. They might be doing this bad about me, or they might be doing the right things to me, but I might suspicious that they are doing a bad about me. So like that it goes. That creates frustration, That frustration, how it works to us, we all know it then. The prolonged frustration can lead us to the depression, That prolonged depression that can affect that psychological health, psychological well-being. So what all we are doing right is, we might do so many different kind of work that and all, and that is for our psychological well-being, to feed our psychological needs and desires. So if it's not that met, and then what will happen there? The psychological problem, we are inviting the psychological problem. If the psychological problem, and then that can lead us to that physiological illness. So like that. So why I say all of those things, because the theme which we have chosen today is, I really appreciate the theme, the right to information. So next is that our government, central government knows so well, and because of that, this right to information everywhere in all of the states, that commission is there, and not only in the central government. And that is why, let us appreciate today our gathering here, that national workshop on right to information in right time. Right to information is already good enough, and in addition to that, we still have that in right time. So I appreciate it. So I wish you all will be benefited that, that the thing itself, and then that the speaker, very, on the media, so many people are there, as I say, only few are special. So we are going to have, today we have a very special, distinguished speaker, that madam, which we are having here. So thank you so much, sir.
I now request Madam Sachipura Bindani Information Commissioner, State Information Commission Odisha, to present a talk. And friends, as we discussed already, if you have any note, anything, you do it. And after the presentation by other faculty, we will have open house discussion that time. Madam Bihani, please.
Namaskar and good afternoon. And I beg your pardon by not, maybe it will be little bit difficult for me to pronounce the name, but I welcome all, each and every professor who are here, along with the student and the dean of SSS and Magic Campus, other people those who are here. From the other department other than the public administration and social science. It's my pleasure, and also Lily from Mizoram State Information Commission, who has been with me since I arrived here and making the whole process possible to be here conveniently without any difficulty, and giving a space in the metrosphere to speak here. I'm so much delighted, and I must say just thank you to all, because maybe this is the first interaction with the student, and which I was intended to do in many other places, and Professor Partly gave me a space to interact. What he has mentioned about the whole academia here, that people are very much sensible and very sensitive towards their study and what they are doing and what they are studying. The thing is that it is only in the whole world, it is the student who have actually led the whole process of any changes in the society. So and you are the people, each one have a greater role in making change in the process for a better life of the particular country and the constitutions. So this is what, keeping those things in the mind, I'm here, as Professor Pathi mentioned, it is already 12 years of the enactment of the law. There are a lot of changes has taken place. There are a lot of changes need to be taken place. So those things, how you can connect with these things, how you understand, because it has happened about any legislation in general, all through the globe, in India also. When we are talking about implementation of any law, we think it is not our job. It is the job of only the judiciary, only the lawyers, or those who has done study only in law. But this is being the citizen of this country. If you go to the principle of rule of law, then you will find that apart from the judiciary, law and enforcement, and academia and people have also a role in better and effective implementation of the law. So in that case, there is a need that the students understanding the researchers' knowledge and assumption to make people's life better through all this legislation is very important, and with that expectation I think we are here to interact. Maybe there are not much time here, but I just focus on, that's why when we are talking about what topic we are going to take, this law we are not discussing about what is there in the section and how the commission is delivering their judgment through the second appeal or the as being the highest appellate authority. But the law is intended to make a process of free flow without any obstacles, create accessibility to the information which is available in the public domain. This has come up after the right to Freedom of Information Act 2002. After that, this law is being called a sunshine law in India. Really, it is a sunshine law. But how we can make these things interpret each and every aspect and section and rule of this law for the justice, accountability, and a transparent government. In this situation, other thing is also coming now, right to information in right time. This service also protection of data which we have been getting through. Someone is coming. Getting through this process, that being having this right to get information and using the information for the interest of the people. This is two things, and the other thing is also sharing information in public domain and also looking at the data protection of those things. So this is in this day, the digital things which has come up in such a way globally. Claiming right to information, I'm keeping in right time in bracket, then we'll explain those things. But right to information and protection of the data which is available in the public domain. This will come to later on, but when we are talking about right information in right time, then everybody might be going before, I expect that before participation in this seminar, you might have gone through. I think there are also some papers are going to be presented by students and researchers and professors. It is section 4.1b. Section 4.1b talks about the after this date of implementation of law, within 120 days, the public authority, those who are declared as public authority, must put that information in the public domain. Section 4.1 is talking about keeping all those information in such a way so that all across the India or in this country, people can access through different devices, either through computer or through internet or through books or any other publication. Accessible means it is also talking about the language and the way in the form it will be available to them. Section 4.1b is talking in 17 points. In 17 points it is talking about the activity of the public authority or the department in different area, but section 4.1b5 is also very important. This is one thing, one part that everything will go to the public domain, but it is already 12 years. Many of such things are not being placed in the public domain under section 4.1b. So how to improve that part? The thing is here is that everybody, as I mentioned, that everybody has a role to improve the whole system, the whole implementation of law. If we are finding these gaps, how to improve that instead of making this thing, these are the gaps. But when you are talking about these are the gaps, you have also the responsibility to how to improve that and also participate in the process of improving that area. Then only you can say that, then only you can talk about implementation of law. Implementation of law cannot be done single-handedly by the government or by the PIO as it is mentioned, or the first appellate authority or the state head or any department head. It is together. Any law to be implemented, it needs the public participation, especially when it comes to the academician, it is the student and the researcher. So now there are a lot of such legislation in other areas also there in India, but the implementation part is having a lot of limitation to make it better implemented for the people for whom it is being enacted. This is one part of the things. That is what I am looking at also. That's my interest, that a student need to engage themselves. how to get into those areas and make contribute with their understanding and suggest the government that these are the area needs to be improved. So this is one thing. When coming to this particular right to information in right time, section 41B is talking about the government programs. Here, I think Professor Jokai, okay, with all my respect, I am pronouncing the name, mentioned about if information is not available in right time, there's no use of the information. Most of the information which should be public domain. It is first, if you talk about that, all those information which are time-bound schemes of the government should come under section 41B. All those social security schemes, all schemes are time-bound, and time-bound schemes should be made available before the public to get the benefit out of it. Number two, the most important part of the Right to Information Act in maximum state, it is the grievance redressal mechanism. When in the second appeal, people they don't have the information with regard to any grievance petition pending with the public authority. Is grievance means that needs immediate responses from the public authority. And years together, when they are not getting it, they are coming for the second appeal. So just imagine, in some state, second appeal is happening immediately. In some state, second appeal cases are being heard very late. So how to deal with this? It gives a lot of pain to even to the commissioner when they think that it is a small thing. One of the citizens of this country who has seek information through a very sunshine, the instrument of very, which is called the sunshine law. But somewhere he is not able to get such information. So grievance redressal mechanism. So there is also another area is here after all these years that looking at when someone is getting agreed with some situation and asking grievance redressal or asking justice, and that petition is pending with them. So how to improve that area of giving redressal to any such grievance redressal situation mechanism. So this is one thing we need to understand, how to improve that area of disposing of all these grievances in other public authority. When someone is asking, what has happened to my petition before you, suppose in Tahsildar, a demarcation has not been done. I'm talking of a particular case. Demarcation was not done on his application. He has deposited the money for the demarcation of the land. Then it was not been done. He was in a hurry to get the demarcation so that he can build up a house for his son before the marriage. When this service was not, this is not information, this service was not given by the particular authority, he went for a that means situation in the village with his brothers and other people, elderly people, that they make a temporary arrangement that this portion of the houses the person can take and build up the house. But this application was there and it came to us. At that time, he's a very old man, then he came that, then he told the whole story of these things. And why the demarcation was not able to be done? Because a demarcation can only be done other than the rainy season. This is what is the system of the revenue department. So, but when he came and when the public authority was being noticed, he was giving money for the service of demarcation, but he has not got the services from the government. It is pending maybe for 3 years. It was filed before commission on 2015, and it was during 2014 he has asked for these things. Then when he came there, still that was not that disputed thing was not resolved. Just for the sake of the marriage, that compromise petition amongst the community was being taken into consideration. And then public authority came and one officer took the signature of that fellow that we have resolved our issues, so I don't need any support from the public authority. But this signature was given in a blank paper, and it was very much, you can ascertain that what has happened. And he came and he told that I have done these things, signature I have given, but this is the situation. Ma'am, it has not been done yet, the demarcation. Then of course, after calling both the PIO and the First Appellate Authority Tahsildar, it was made possible to do these things. The thing is that the information was about the demarcation, and that was a service that the person has the right to get that service because he has deposited the money for that. So this is just a small example. There are a lot of such grievances are pending if they will not get the information in right time. So the right to information is that means it is halfway. It is not giving that much of result. The thing here, this is not only the case. The case of any grievance redressal mechanism in any public authority, if it is not being redressed in a particular time, then there is no use of the providing the information here in the second appellate authority. Odisha has come up with a very good, I don't know, but Ms. Ridley, I have requested her to provide me some of the document related to this thing. In 2012, Odisha Citizens' Right to Public Service Act has come up. In the act about that is by that 19 department have their obligation towards the public to provide the service within stipulated time. So this is also, I am interpreting when I am listening to the cases, I am also interpreting in this way. Whenever all these things are coming, so I am getting little, I am twisting little bit of my power and I am asking for those things. And also it's a state rule also having another good things in rule 3.4. When providing the information and getting delayed by the PIO, and PIO is thinking that it is out of his or her hand. Under this rule 3.4, he will bring the notice of the public authority about such delay in a written format, will document it and inform. So this space is created, is going beyond also, where the public authority, why PIO is in this act, the PIO is personally responsible for any such delay under section 20, and that has been described. But when in India, all the information is called by the act has not been made public, 4.1a, under 4.1a, keeping this in a very regular and in a manner where it is being indexed properly, to be given by the PIO. But this situation in India, when all these preservation and taking the protection of the data, whether it is in the hard copy or in the soft copy, has not been done that way, that needs a lot of the speculation, research, study of the institutions to contribute towards these areas where the major gaps are that the information which was supposed to be in the public domain with all these elements, it is well filed, well documented, and it is placed in such a manner that as and when it is required can be given to the public. So there are a lot of space also in the law that need to be interpreted by other than the commission. It is by the researcher, by the expert. They need to get into this area of the gaps and make research on those things and find out what can be done better way. In this context also I would like to talk about a little bit of the information and about intimation. It is also found that people have been intimated that the information is not available. So in our mind we never question these things. This is also I have observed. People were satisfied with this thing that when it is not available, they used to say it is, there are certain other words also there. At the time it is not available, when it will be available, we will provide it to you. It is in a situation that search is going on. When search will be completed, we will provide it to you. It is not traceable. It is eaten by the white ant. It is destroyed in the disaster or certain other situation. So these are the plea. They used to intimate the appellant and they used to inform that information has given. What is the information? When they asked to produce that paper or the information provided to the appellant, this is the information. The search is going on, when available will be provided to you. This is what I am putting it here because when we questions about accountability, when we explore about to get things done, we never question certain things. That is information. Intimation is not information. Intimation is to inform. Intimation is the document which is available in the public domain in the custody of the PIO to be given to the information seeker as and when it is sought by the information seeker. So these things are not in our mind also. The education we are being tuned with the mind. We never questions lot of such things in our day-to-day life. We never question certain words we use without our knowledge about what does mean. Even we never questions if someone explain or intimate us this way that this is not the information, this is just intimation. When information, we are talking of the information, right information and also getting information and interpreting those information in a different sphere and taking advantage of those data and interpreting for a self-interest or for a vested interest is also not information. The data which are there as authorized or as it is being recognized, that means stamped by the PIO, that PIO will give you the document with his signature or her signature, giving the stamp that this document which has been sought by the information seeker, these are the document is available with us. Those things, there are a lot of complex situation of the availability of the document in the public domain and the information which the information seeker received from the PIO and use of such information. So after 12 years, more than 12 years of implementation of this law, 2-3 things are very clear. That is, under this law, it was intended to create a system of transparency where free flow of information will be available for the people as the right of to get information is the right of the people. There is a need to add to this thing that the right information is right and is the right of the people. Because information which today we are the information seeker are asking is very much related to the grievance redressal. As it has been mentioned that it is not of making evaluation, but it is to explore the area where are the gaps and evolve new things which can contribute to a better implementation of this law. In this case, I would also like to mention about a little bit of the data protection. The data protection, I'd like to give an example, like when it is coming to the revenue department, any commission and omission in the data, that is still pending with me. It has not been, that means the judgment has not been given, the final order has not been given. The revenue data now, this is also a very good, big challenge for the government, that after digitalization of some part of the revenue data, the data protection measure has to be taken with lot of care and lot of clarity, so that there should not be any manipulation of the data which is available in the way. Digitalized form of data are subject to misutilization by people, and especially in the land record. And now Government of Odisha is coming up, they are sitting in the discussion that appellant came up with a copy from the website where there was discrepancy in the data he has received from the PIO and available in the bullet, that is called the bullet one thing. So taking these things, Commission has also gone to talk about that what is the measure taken by, or what is the understanding between MOU between the NIC and the revenue department. Whenever there is any data omission or commission is taking place, how they are managing these things, on what principles. So there are, when I am talking of the principle, it is now the students should talk about the principles of any decision. On what basis, on what principle decision are being taken, or because other things even in your study, even in your perception, even when you are speculating some things. So in the education, this is the right of the people also in the education sphere, from the primary school to the higher education, that right to information, and right information is their right, so that the right information can educate a person, not only the intimation or information. The right information can create capability and strengthen the intellectual pursuit of the student. That is what is knowledge. Knowledge takes place when right information is there. There are a lot of information nowadays around us, 24 hours. If you sit there with a mobile, means lot of information are around you. But the thing is that the information which actually create knowledge or is responsible for the knowledge is the right. The right information cannot contribute to whatever is available in the Google is the information, and it will strengthen our knowledge aspect. So the very education part in India now also going through a lot of challenges when the education is not allow children to. I am coming to that because it is also very important and related to this thing, to ask questions. Even now in the, I'll give the example, and in the many such research, we are using certain words, but we don't know what is the connotation of such word. I'm going to a little bit different topic on which I have worked since a long time. That is on prevention of witch hunting. I need to mention about these things, that how in information which is being used in the public domain mislead people and confuse them and push them to a domain where they can be exploited by witch hunting is only a small facet of the violence against people or making people use by some people who have the power to manipulate the information or using information in a different way. Witch hunting I mentioned because I've been making effort to interpret this witch hunting thing. I don't know whether this is very much known to you in this region of the country, but Odisha is subject to such type of violence for last many decades. And in 2011, actually, after seeing a particular cases in my district, I filed a writ petition before the Odisha High Court in 2012 June, and in 11 June. In 2012 April, Honorable Odisha High Court gave an order to have a separate law in Odisha. Then in 2013, it was passed by the Legislative Assembly. 14 February, we come up with a law. The law says that any violation related to branding anyone at witches are coming under this law and punishable under CRPC and IPC. The thing is that when these things were in the discussion in the public domain, it was there are certain words which are very much common to explain that. I am saying in little bit Korean, then I will translate to English. Kusanskar. Because of Kusanskar, Kusanskar is a word they use. People are victim of such violence. In this violence, I don't know whether you were aware about that. In this March, I think. In March, in one of the district where the district judge has declared, has punished out of 9%, 8% the highest penalty, that is capital punishment, that is to hang them, the death penalty. In one district, in a family, 4 members were being killed brutally. And one of the girl was being given poisonous injection so that she can die with lot of pain. This is something even I feel very bad explaining such a way that I can take it. And when branding someone and killing them and doing harm to them, so there is a necessity to have a law in the state. This Kusanskar was being used by everybody. I'll come to the English translation. Recently, I was participating in one of the international workshop on witch hunting. That was the first workshop last year. All those studies, all those papers were presented by many researchers, many people, those who are working seriously on this. Their weight culture is a reason of the witch hunting. This is one of the points they mentioned. In Odia, it is Kusanskar. If you question these things, to justify that this word Kusanskar is in our Odia dictionary, so we are using these things but without explaining what is Kusanskar means. There is no such word as Kusanskar. That was my first statement before the media. Sanskar, one can be sanskari or cultured or not cultured. Sanskari or not sanskari. So like that, there is no such culture. Culture is always it is a positive word. Culture is to improve the things, maybe different from each other, but culture word is intended to improve the things and create a trend or norms so that people's life will be happy and enjoyable. There is no such word as harmful culture. It is self-contradictory. There is no such word as bad culture. Culture is culture. Sanskar is sanskar. There is no such word as kusanskar. Till that time, there was a lot of discussion on kusanskar, but it was not attributed to anyone. The victim was being hurt because he is kusanskari or she is kusanskari. That's all the person perpetrator who are committing this violence against those people are being called kusanskari. So there are a lot of things the student need to raise. The raising means to get right information as right. So this is also eating. There are certain other word also to be questions. This is also right to ask what is the right things. So this is this this is a like a round. You will come and you will move and you will reach in some place, but you realize that you moved to such a big road to reach this place where you are there, and can reflect upon that. What was your beginning point and where is your point of the destination? So these things, what other facet of this, I'm getting my experience from those things, this right to information. Maybe it was coincidence I became commissioner to do this. What things are those? When I started speculating, I might have seen hundreds of such cases in my life, because the district I belong is a tribal district. Since my childhood, I remember when I was 3 or 4 years old, then I saw an old man, mostly those tribal, came with a bearded, that means carrying a head of old women sucked with blood. The head was sucked with blood. That was very much frightening for me to see such things. So, making people believe in that there are witches. I said, no, there's no witches. We create such type of things in our mind by misleading people. This is not right information. Telling about witches, what I said is not the right information. Like that, when I like to mention a particular case studies on which I filed this case in the High Court, that is about the story that girl, 16 years old girl who killed her sister's mother-in-law because these are the actually background of such killing, because one of her, that means you can say boyfriend was interested to marry her, looking for the land which was in possession of her sister's mother-in-law. So it is a small village. He was not able to get that land, and that lady was working as cook in one Anganwadi center. Then this boy instigated this girl, 16 years old girl, that your sister's mother-in-law is a witch, because whatever has happened to your family, like your father was died because of malaria, because that is a malaria-prone area, and because of some crop loss, because of Maruli destroyed their crop loss, and it happens in the village, the death of animal husbandry or such things. So I'm explaining the situation because people they have lost one case in the court of law. So all things was being attributed to that lady, because of her this is happening. So since people, and another things was also element was there about their investment in another case, investment in all those so-called as the group, finance group, and losing the money. The thing is that all these things, the death of father and not getting a job by her brother, loss of crop, everything, because people have no right information about all these things now. Death of any animal husbandry, this stock, livestock, loss of crop. There are things, there are reasons why these things are happening. So since people has no access to right information about the livelihood, judiciary, about the health facilities, about this livestock in the community, and many other things like whatever been explained. So they are victim of such violence. They don't have the strength, what we call in Oriya samarthya, capability to ask questions, because they are living the life of confused persons. Though there are a lot of such programs, they are all through the world. It is not only Orissa. I am just taking Orissa situation. It is all through the world. They mislead people with some data, which they call information, and push them to a certain world where you can exploit them. So when people are confused, they cannot make questions. It's very difficult to ask questions. And confused person, Madam Psychologist also here, confused person, you can make them feel bad, can push into fear psychosis and exploit them. And all this is example I gave you because on this I have worked and I relate these things to right information in right time. About all the government program. What is happening in this country, on which this country, the people's money, the country is running. If it is, how it is being functioned is not available in right time for people, people will not get benefit out of it, rather they will be pushed into such domain where they will be exploited in a different way. Presenting only one of the facets, one of the crime which is happening. As I have a lot of example for this thing, so I can explain. But looking at this particular things, we can say that we have the right to know and right information in right time. So interpreting the law from the various aspects is very essential also, and participating in implementation law is called rule of law, and academia has a lot of things to take lead in these things, work on these things and contribute towards better governance and supporting the government to do better for them. Thank you very much.
Chairman, sir, the resource person, Madam Shashi Prabha Dindari, Honorable State Information Commissioner, SIC Odisha, Dean Professor Zokai Tuani, my dear colleagues in the university, the students and scholars of Mizoram University, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great chance for me also to share some few things. Before I propose a very brief vote of thanks, I would like to share 2 points or 1 point only. Our resource person and honorable, what is called chief guest, I should say, Madam also has mentioned so many important and very relevant and valid points also. But what I would like to, based on what the information that has been given by her, I also would like to add more points. Here I have a right to information and necessity of education empowerment. So the other day we talked about even our Vice President of India during his short and flying visit, who had mentioned that education empowers. So it's very important to utilize this right to information. Also, it is required to have empowerment. Educational empowerment is very much important. So the government of India actually adopted the Constitution of India. So after adoption of this Constitution of India, it has been about 70 years. In the very Constitution of India, the provisions we find in the preamble to the Constitution of India, even fundamental rights also, where every citizen of India can have freedom of expression, kind of such thing is there if we read Article 19, Section 1 and Clause A and all, where freedom of expression can be actually enjoyed by the citizen of India. So keeping in view of that, why this right to information has been enacted only in 2005, after many years, to translate the goals, even the aims and objective of this constitution, we should have this kind of actually enactment long ago, not only in 2005. That is what I want to share first. The second thing is that the Right to Information Act 2005 seems to be an effective legislation. But what about its effective implementation? And it requires aware and educated people who can use it for their welfare. So government first needs to ensure that a majority of population becomes educated, so that this act may survive for a longer period and serve the deprived and poor people of this country. Here women are actually more deprived even on this issue again. Being a director, the honorary director of Women's Studies Center, this actually very point pinches me. That's why I just highlight in this as one of the fallacy of this right to information. So other glaring fallacy may also be pointed out here that the Act lacks necessity for defaulters in case where information has been denied without sufficient cause. That penalty is not so harsh enough so as to have a deterrent effect on those who do not want to share information. Those 2 points I just wanted to share with you. So I say thank you to the chairman of this program and the organizing team chairman and head of Department of Public Administration also. So before I really propose vote of thanks, I will make a very brief vote of thanks only. I have to tender my apology for not coming in time. The reason was that we had a brief meeting there in the Department of Public Administration. With due permission of the head, then I had to move out from the brief meeting to Women's Study Center because in 2 days, after 2 days, we are going to have an event then where I have to make some kind of contact with the minister who is coming to inaugurate our program. So I could not return in time, madam. I'm really sorry for that. So today we are very lucky coming to the vote of thanks. I would like to say a big thanks to madam who had come from far away, very far off, from Orissa, who has actually a great idea that if she can have a kind of interaction with the university students, scholars, even the teacher also. So the desire that madam has could not be actually achieved very high, but at this much only we can achieve because our head of department could arrange in such a short notice also. Then our dean, School of Social Sciences, Professor Zokai Tuami, has also agreed to use this very hall also. So in that way, anyway, I say a big thank you to madam for giving us a very relevant and informative and educative lecture to us. And the experience that has been shared by her with us is also will be really serving even a good purpose also. And to study more about the right to information, it becomes really a good instrument today, so that people are also empowered because of this enactment. So I say thank you for giving us a wonderful lecture today. So secondly, I say thank you to Madam Zokai Tuami, who is the Dean School of Social Sciences, who has been making this hall available. Not only this hall making available, herself also physically present all the time. That is a great actually encouragement for all of us also. So I say thank you to Madam Zokai Tuami also. Then I say thank you to the professors in the School of Social Sciences and teachers, other teachers of the School of Social Sciences. I don't find outside the School of Social Sciences teachers. Then I say thank you to research scholar of the MZU, especially the Department of Public Administration and the student of Public Administration, second and fourth semester, for being there with us in this very important occasion. So I also say thank you to Miss Lily, who is actually licensed officer in Information Office there in the government of Mizoram, or in Mizoram I should say, for being there also in our midst today, and then who have also accompanied this madam also today, so that we have got a fruitful discussion and even a lecture and program today. So with these few words, I say thank you to each and every one of you once again. Thank you.
Okay, friends, on behalf of the department, I request Madam Jokaituluki to give a small token of gift to our chief guest, Madam Shashi Prabhina. Esther. You know how this one.
Thank you, Sir Professor Pathi, and members of the organizer and respected chief guests, Mrs. Bandani, who is also a member of State Information Commission of this time. The title of my presentation is A Study of Right to Information Act 2005 in Mizoram. Just for information, I would like to make a confession that, of course, I'm not proud of myself, but in respect of right to information, I am the first one who used to write article on the Right to Information Act in Mizoram. While I was studying first year B.A., second year B.A., third year B.A., I was a writer in a monthly magazine called Zone 2. Zone 2 published from Treasury Square. A small friend of us published that monthly magazine, and I used to write articles on Right to Information Act. And at that time, amongst the national newspaper, only the Hindu used to publish activities on Right to Information Act initiated by Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan (MKSS) in Rajasthan and Shanti Parivartan. At that time, the present Chief Minister of New Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal, was also very active. This is my. Soon after the passage of the Right to Information Act in our parliament, I published an English article in Newslink in 2005. On June 1st and June 2nd, 2005, just right after the passage of the Act. And 30 years after the implementation of Right to Information Act, there are so many things that are amendable on the implementation of Right to Information Act. During the movement that was initiated by MKSS and Shanti Parivartan, we had very high hope on Right to Information Act. At that time, it was Freedom of Information Act, and Mizoram was also in the throes of a fierce pageant for good governance, because transparency, which will be promoted by this Right to Information Act, is a core component of good governance. And it was believed at the time that Right to Information Act would promote transparency by getting information out from the public authorities into the public domain, and by virtue of that, it would mitigate corruption. It would also keep administrative and civic bodies on their toes. But I would like to say that after the implementation, 13 years of implementation of Right to Information Act, I would like to comment on 3 or 4 points. The first is poor implementation. The problem of implementation lies with the poor implementation of Section 4, Clause 1 by government departments and government agencies. If Section 4, Clause 1b is implemented fully by government departments and government agencies, then there will be minimum resort to the use of this act. We will not have much use of this Right to Information Act because Section 4, Clause 2 said that it shall be a constant endeavor of every public authority to update information that are being published in the public domain, so that the public have minimum resort to the use of this act to obtain information. But even our university does not follow much. I will give you some violators of this Section 4. One is Mizoram University. The second is Chief Minister's Office. The third one is even State Information Commission Office. Because in CMO website, cmo.mizoram.gov.in, the last updated activity of the Chief Minister was on 27 July 2013. Yes, it was displayed in the website that on that day, the Chief Minister was attending the inauguration of Mizoram Snooker and Billiard Association at Hola Indoor Stadium. Then on 25 July 2013, Mizoram Chief Minister was attending the General Conference of DIE Mizoram. Only such information were updated till date. 5 years have already passed since the last updated of that CMO office. Then there is also another public domain that can be used by citizens to obtain information free of cost, CM Online. I am also a user of this CM Online once, but now it is almost defunct. Without resorting to Right to Information Act, we can use this CMO Online via social media as well. But there are not frequent users of this CMO Online. Then last but not the least, even MIC, Mizoram Information Commission, does not also update its own website. Because in the who's who list of SIC, you will not find the present Chief Information Commissioner, who is Claude Tinarante. Recently, Mizoram Moya, he was also appointed as member of State Information Commission on 3rd May this month. And last week, he was sworn in as member by the governor of Mizoram, but it is not yet published in the in my SIC website. We are also the culprit. What implementation is a problem there? Another problem lies with fluctuation in the number of public authorities. Public authorities who are supposed to update and furnish information. In the last annual report of State Information Commission that covered the year between 2016 to 2017, the number of public authority was 164. But in 2015 and 16, the number of public authority was 159. Then the number of public authority in between 2014 to 2015 was 169. There was variation in the number of public authority in Mizoram as well. Then another point I would like to make, which is very important, and which is also a violation of the Right to Information Act itself, is that from 2011 onwards, the government of Mizoram withdrew the full financial powers delegated to the Chief Information Commissioner, which means that the SIC has come to function under the authority of state government in respect of financial resources. The budget is charged in the consolidated fund of the state, not in the contingency fund of the state. Well, MPSC and Legislative Assembly expenditure and the Governor Secretariat expenditures are charged in the contingency fund of the state. They cannot be discussed in the legislative house floor. But the budget of this SIC has come under the consolidated fund of the state. Then, last but not the least, State Public Information Commission and Assistant Public Information Commission and Department of P.A authorities usually consider their responsibilities in connection with this Right to Information Act as additional burden. If they consider their responsibility with RTI Act as additional burden, it is the public will suffer. Those applicants of information will suffer. They should consider their responsibility as an important services to the citizen. Therefore, I suggest that a regular consultative meeting or workshop of all SPIO and APIO should be conducted regularly by State Information Commission. Then awareness campaign on Right to Information Act should be conducted regularly, not only by SIC office, but by outsiders like us as well. From 2011 onwards, they observe RTI week, of course, but this observance of RTI week by SIC does not go beyond their manpower. They never invite manpower resources from outside. Even if they go outside Mizoram, they did by themselves. Yes. That's why, for my last point, full implementation of Section 4, Clause 1 is required in Mizoram so that citizens will have minimum resort use of this act. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. So before I finally, just enter into Karnataka's case, let me brief you about the RTI. How RTI emerged in India as a revolutionary movement in the field of disseminating information and empowering people by welcoming their participation in decision making. So it took almost 2.5 centuries for India to implement this small but venomous act in our country in 2005. In my further discussion, you will come to know why I call this act as a small but a venomous. So this landmark act came in 2015, as we all know. So now I am not going to discuss the procedures, how to apply, how to obtain information and all. We are very much aware. Let me give you a brief outline of Karnataka and the experience of RTI in Karnataka. Karnataka become a state of India in 1956, and as a Mysore state was called as Mysore state in 1956 and was renamed in 1973 as Karnataka state. And today Karnataka has 30 districts with 6.5 crore population. We have more than 178 blocks or taluks in our state, which has been divided. Our state has been divided into 4 regions. The three regions: coastal region, the plain land, and the hill station. We have 3 regions in Karnataka, and Karnataka is known for housing prominent educational institutions, industries, health centers, and etc. in our country. So now, with this background, let me give you some snapshots about the Karnataka's RTI. As early as 1997, Karnataka executed this right to information with much difficulty, and until 2000, the act was not that effective, and the state enacted one more RTI Act in 2000, and that same 2000 Act was repealed in 2005, where it paved way for the implementation of our new RTI Act in 2005. So here in Karnataka, almost more than 35 departments, they come under RTI, namely Department of Revenue, Animal Husbandry, Higher Education, Finance, etc. etc. So in Karnataka, as I told you, we have these many departments which come under RTI Act, and since 2005 until today, the Act is running smoothly and very successfully. I say it is smooth and successful. There are certain stumbling blocks which I will highlight. I say smooth and successful. Why? Because per annum more than 10,000 cases under RTI were registered, and these cases were smoothly redressed as well. So let me cite one example where the RTI in Karnataka worked very well and brought down one chief minister and sent him to jail. If a person called Hiremat, I think most of them are aware of him. So an engineer from US returned to India and started to work towards corruption, to eliminate corruption. He is in his 70s and he is working tirelessly to eliminate corruption in the administration and as well as in the government. So for his movement, the RTI came in the form of rescue. So you are very much aware, I don't know whether you are aware or not, I think the esteemed expert members, they are very much aware that we have one infamous mining mafia in Karnataka attached to a district called Bellary, where enormous natural resources which was worth of thousands of crores were looted by a company called Obalapuram, where it was headed by infamous again the Reddy brothers. Through this Hiremat and with the income tax department and the movement of Hiremat, what he did was utilize this RTI to frame these people, and ultimately by exposing their corruption activities, which was worth of thousands of crores, and he sent them to jail. And some of them, they came out of with bail, they came out from jail, but still they are facing this they are under legal process. And taking cue from this Hiremat, now a movement has started. You have stakeholders, as I have mentioned in the paper, that we have stakeholders in this RTI. the citizens, individual citizens like us, the activists, the legal practitioners, academicians, as well as the scholars. All these people in Karnataka or elsewhere in India, they utilize this space, the RTI space, for many reasons. To get information, to actually to participate in the decision making, to frame somebody who is of corruption, and to tarnish the government which is of again involved in corruption activities and other maladies. So what I would like to impress upon you is this: yes, Karnataka, as one of the forerunners in this implementation of this RTI Act, has been running successfully since 2005, and some of the examples like framing this mafia, framing corruption cases, and sending the sitting chief ministers and ministers to jail, and has created a fear in the minds of the the civil servants and many more. So now there are certain stumbling blocks. I'll end my presentation with this, narrating few of the stumbling blocks. What are these few of the stumbling blocks? One is this act has been misused. One person has filed 470 RTIs in 1 year. The court, our Supreme Court, comes out and says that he will be suspended, his cases will be suspended for 2 years, that he will not file these cases again. That means without without any reason, for some personal motivation, for some personal rivalry, he misused this act and filed 470 cases of RTI, and which has been holded by the Supreme Court of India. One thing. Then another misuse part is that, this act also generated RTI birds. We have birds, RTI birds now. Anywhere you go, the first thing when you talk about the government administration or politics, they threaten like, I'm going to file an RTI. So this is also same in Karnataka, and we have more number of these RTI birds who are actually using this act for their personal gains. Then another important thing is that in the recent past, although we have this Whistleblowers Act, which came in 2011, which intends to protect the RTI activists, and the success is very limited in case of that Whistleblowers Act. Why I say the success is very limited? Many of the RTI activists have been murdered, and now one side we are talking about the RTIs. Madam has already mentioned sunshine, so we say that sunshine one side because it is helpful for the people to obtain information and to participate in decision making and to drive the corruption out, and many other reasons. But because of the murder of these RTI activists and misuse of this RTI Act, it is giving a kind of fear in the minds of the people who wanted to actually utilize this act. So with this, let me conclude that saying RTI in Karnataka is successfully running with these stumbling blocks. I hope with proper advertisement of this RTI and protecting the RTI activists and giving the punishment and penalizing the people who are in the judicial procedure will strengthen the RTI Act in Karnataka. Thank you.
Good Chairman, our Chief Guest, Madam Raj. Yes, you can see. Vidani, our experts who are going to present and to make presentation. My esteemed colleagues, research scholars, and friends. I feel privileged to make a presentation on right to information experience in Mizoram. I'll not trace the historical background of this RTI in Organised because the previous speaker, Ms. Alani, had already traced it. But I'll only repeat only those which are relevant. Here in Mizoram, because our nature might be different, most of the Mizos are selective by nature. That's why even our very government had never made any close and open relations with the state, with the people in the state. Right from the time of our traditional system of administration till having a democratized form of governance structure in our state. Let me tell you, our politicians, our political parties started talking about right to information during the election campaigns in the 2003 Mizoram Legislative Assembly elections. During their political campaigns, in anticipation of the passing of this RTI Act by the Indian Parliament, had already made a promise to the people that had this bill been approved by the Parliament to become an act, then their political parties would implement this RTI. Then, as expected, in 2005, the RTIs came into existence, and even in Mizoram, in 2016, this Chief Mizoram State Information Commission came into existence, and SPIOs were also designated together to information needs of the public. But RTI manuals, which had already been drafted and approved way back in 2006, were repealed, and the RTI Act 2010 were notified afresh by the state government on 20th September 2010. Here in Mizoram, unlike in other parts of the country, we do not have any leading figures from the individuals spearheading the movement for the implementation of Right to Information Act. Instead, we have few civil society actors using right to information for promoting good governance, namely Young Mizo Association. Then, People's Right to Information and Implementation Society of Mizoram, for short, PRISM. Then, MUP, the full form of MUP is Mizoram Upapol, means this is association of the elders. Then MHEP, Mizoram Upapol, means Mizoram Women Association for short. Then Society for Social Action. He should be taken, for example, the head of the department, and if not, he would be one of the officials deeply and extensively involved in carrying out the ongoing projects. But without any reason, the services of 19 officials were found extended by the state government. Apart from this, based on the replies received by MZP, it was found that 4 unqualified persons were appointed as lecturers in the college. While these 4 selected persons were not net qualified, those net qualified were rather put in the panel list. This is very serious. And in addition to this, MUP, an association of senior citizens, had made information requests relating to the suspected misappropriation of funds by some government officials. And this allegation was pertaining to government projects in one village called Lam Chi, which lies between Siasu and Aizawl. And apart from this, Mizoram citizens also lodged complaints pertaining to unfair distribution of compensations against death cases during Mizoram insurgency. During Mizoram insurgency, some of the people lost their life and their bereaved families had not yet been compensated by the state government. And after signing of Mizoram Peace Accord, and after a long time, I should say, there was an opportunity for their bereaved families to stake claims for compensation. And they were in one way successful, but when the real distribution was likely to take place, the MOP, Mizoram Senior Citizens Association, had a suspicion that the way things were handled by the officials were not it was not done in a fair way. Therefore, there was a complaint to the government that rectification must be made with regards to the proposed distribution of this compensation to the bereaved family who lost their dear ones during Mizoram insurgency. Then apart from this, here in Mizoram, sowing or cultivating persons fruit is very lucrative in one way, and even our horticulture department encourage the people to carry out large-scale investments in the cultivation of persons fruit. But the MUP had got suspicion that some of the government officials were not fair enough in the distribution of money to the persons fruit growers. And all these were facts. Today, our topic is right to information in right time, but for me, today is not right time to present. Why? A couple, after 2 or 3 weeks, one of the PhD scholars doing her research under me on this right to information and good governance. Her result might be published after 2-3 weeks, but now it is not fair on my part as an intellectual to reveal those important findings for the indulgence of the House. Because for me, today is not the right time to make presentation, because I really respect these research ethics, which is why I'm not going to divulge anything. But for your information, I hope you can accept that I have rich knowledge about this, because I guided what is this scholar, and two reports have already arrived, but we are waiting for third report. Okay, that is for information. And in addition to senior citizens organization, till today there is one vibrant but small but vibrant civil society called Human Rights and Law Network. And this Human Rights and Law Network asks for information pertaining to the alleged slicing out of a large portion of Aizawl Civil Hospital compound for construction of the Orkui Multipurpose Center. And here I was also practically involved by the state government to act as messengers between health department and the Orkui locality. Then the department organized meeting there in Aizawl Club. Then we took part in this in the deliberation, but it was very difficult to arrive at to make a solution, I should say. Until today, this problem, this chapter has not been closed. And the next experience that Mizoram has come across is with regards to the contributions made by SOSA. This society was one time very active and it was an anti-corruption group which asked for information pertaining to alleged unfair distribution of compensation for the construction of two-year hydro projects and distortion of the facts for hiding misappropriation of funds for road construction under PMGSY. And if I've taken too much. Then lastly, another anti-corruption group, PRISM, People's Right to Information group, we call it. This PRISM has collected more than 1,000 vital information covering involvement of 297 officials in corruption and their names, those officials involved in corruption in relation to agriculture were also displayed publicly and they were put in public domain. And apart from this, misappropriation of monetary shares of farmers by some government officials were also placed in the public domain. Then 293 false claims of compensation were also detected by this PRISM. Then they could also find out some cases of wrong recruitment. So if I use the word wrong recruitment, it may be a little strong. But recruitment that was made by Indian Reserve Police Battalion and by PCCF, there were some irregularities in the appointment of some officials, some staff, and these were detected by this PRISM. Apart from this, the PRISM has found out some irregularities regarding Kautabung and regarding the construction of Kautabung. Let me conclude like this. Now, this Information Act marks a paradigm shift in administrative culture from secrecy to that of openness in administration in Mizoram. Though we have not yet attained our the level that we have expected, but RTI has made an impact on the administration in Mizoram. And if, as proposed by one of the presenters, if more efforts has been paid for giving awareness, then this will open the eyes of the public at large. Let me tell you, after the establishment of this State Information Commission, trying to open the eyes of the public by the officials and those who are designated by the state government to act as RTI campaigners took a long time. In other words, trying to give awareness to the public was taking a long time, which is why the effective use of this RTI took place at a very much later days. Now here, what I want to emphasize is that in order to give lessons to the people that using RTI is rewarding, the government must take actions against those officials who were found indulged in corruption, and if these officials were proved that they were corrupt based with documentary evidence, then the government must have the courage to take actions against these corrupt officials so that the people will be ready to cooperate with our State Information Commission in a more meaningful way. Thank you.
Sir, as a Rajasthan, we know that the philosophy of this right to information profound in Rajasthan. The experience of the movement as a almost 13 years that the people they got the right of information. So it is a proverb that we say, if you want to get something, your right, then you have to fight. The same thing happened with the RTI, Right to Information Movement in Rajasthan, to get the right by fight. So the people, especially illiterate women in Rajasthan, the area where the movement began, that was a hill as a town, as a central Rajasthan, where the Ajmer and the Pali and the Jodhpur and the Rajasthan borders area where the RTI movement began in 1987. And the women, the illiterate women, they known by Ghagra Paltan as a petticoat group of illiterate women. They were regular participant by the 3 generations, not only the one, 3 generation women, illiterate women, they participate to make success this movement as a right. So I'm just going through what is the experience of RTI in Rajasthan. I have just summarized 15-16 points, and I just highlighting, and if I have time then I will elaborate also. So the most problem, I'm just highlighting first problem, negative aspect, then after some positive aspect also. The negative aspect, especially in Rajasthan, and I will give some example of other state also, the compare with Rajasthan. The personal security of RTI activist or the user or applicant is most nowadays in Rajasthan. Because the reason of this is in Rajasthan the caste based and feudalist society, that is one reason. And nowadays in Rajasthan, lower caste people, rural people, illiterate people, they are using RTI as a legal weapon against the authorities or the public officers. That's how they are victim. They are becoming victim or victimizing by the upper caste or the educated or the official people, or even the media also help them. And there are many cases, around 1 dozen cases of such that a media person involved, high-ranking officer involved, elite people, either the rural or the town, even the business, they also business field related people, they involved, they victimizing the RTI users or activists. Now second problem is the approach of Rajasthan state government, especially State Information Commission, is not like proactive regarding to protect RTI user or activist. So very less we can say is proactive towards the victimization of RTI activists or users in Rajasthan, especially the State Information Commission almost a time silent if there are such cases. Another is a issue or the problem in Rajasthan RTI experience, we see huge backlog increasing, huge backlog RTI complaints, not a kind of information not providing, but complaints are not hearing or not solution solved out. So huge backlog is increasing, and in India highest backlog in Madhya Pradesh. If you file today one RTI complaint, then the RTI Commission, Information Commission Madhya Pradesh, will consider your complaint after 60 years. That is a huge backlog. So you have to wait for long years. In Rajasthan 14 years, in Gujarat 17 years. These are kind of a huge backlog of RTI complaint, and the reason is only one, that a lack of a public officer, information officer in districts or block level or tehsil level or whatever district level also. Even many states there is a no permanent information commission also. In Rajasthan by chance today we have as another problem RTI related as lack of a proactive disclosure of information. If the departments or public office, if they advance publicize the information or put in the public domain, there will not be problem. Only in India one state having this RTI helpline system that provided by the NGO, that in Gujarat only. So in Gujarat, Maiti as Adhikar Gujarat Pahal, as Maiti Adhikar Gujarat Pahal, only NGO in India that is giving free RTI helpline. So that kind of RTI helpline not in Rajasthan. Another thing that there is a irregularity regarding submission of annual status report on RTI on website or the public domain. So in Rajasthan you check a website also, you will find a annual status report on RTI as 2012 last time when they report the annual reports on put on the website. Another is we see as in like in neighboring state Tripura, Sikkim, Arunachal, these states have not even RTI website also. If you take Tripura, there is no RTI website, no state government website RTI, but most of states having except some states. Another issue is coming that is a transfer of RTI application. Suppose in illiterate people, less educated, or even the first time user, even they want a good information, relevant information from the particular office, but they don't know the proper office. So sometimes they submit their application RTI to the wrong office or inappropriate office also. So what happens? Their application will be rejected. So in RTI Act also mentioned that if someone application is not submitted to the proper or concerned office, then the office which received will transfer to the proper office. But this is not happening. So 1/3 application in Rajasthan, especially some districts, rejected on the basis of inappropriate or a wrong office submission. Another problem is coming as like really education, lack of education on the RTI. The Rajasthan Education Committee, as eminent educationist, they formed committee and they suggested that RTI related education should be included from the school level so that students come to know about RTI. So the first time in 2011, in 8th class of standard school book, the RTI chapter was included. But in 2016, the present government removed that chapter, so that future generation as a present student, they are stating they will not get informed, they will not come to know about the RTI. So that kind of also think that lack of education curriculum on the RTI in Rajasthan. Another issue, interesting that if there is an issue related to RTI, like legal issue or anything, then people will go to High Court. You know that interesting in Rajasthan High Court, High Court Rajasthan having its own special RTI rules that are not following to the RTI Act also. Especially there is 100 rupees fees for BPL. If someone BPL category people submit an application to Rajasthan High Court wanting a particular information, then have to pay 100 rupees. BPL category person have to pay 500 rupees. Another thing, not only these two, the applicant should have to submit photograph also. Why photo is required? Applicant should mention also details of occupation, whether in job or service. What is the importance of this occupation? So again, this like High Court even having different role, and such no role any High Court I think in India having such a different role like our passing the RTI Act rules. Another and maybe just only 2 points regarding one negative point only, that in Rajasthan we know that most of information office or even the information commission, the concerned the staff are on deputation post. So they came from their parent or their origin department, and they have good understanding with the old or their origin department, and if the complaint come to that department, they will not like they will slow work, or they will give application in like backlog. They put, oh, this is not good or my department. So that kind of deputation based staff also not like active, and also like create problem or in submission or resubmission of the information. Now some positive. Only 3 points I have positive. So the first is RTI related literacy or users highest in Rajasthan. If we compare all India states, highest RTI literacy or users are in Rajasthan, and especially rural people. If a villager is going to city or town, and if he is going to like a PWD office or any office, then someone will ask, "Bhai, kahan ja raha hai? Where are you going, brother?" Oh, you are an RTI activist, you are RTI user. So that kind of, if he is going for some personal work, but people are thinking that, oh, he is an RTI user, he is an RTI activist. So that kind of thinking there. So that is good also. Another thing is, NGO and civil society very strong in Rajasthan regarding RTI. And that we see, RTI movement become as a right or act because of NGO and civil society role. So just I want to highlight only 3 names, 3 NGO and 3 activists. The first is the RTI activist, founder of RTI movement, Aruna Roy, second Nikhil Lay, and the third is Shankar Singh. He is from the Bhim town of Ajmer. And 3 NGO, they are working very much, very good, and now many state NGO and civil society also adopting and following their work. So the first is we see RTI month. There is a RTI month also. Another is Suchna Evam Rozgar Ka Adhikar Abhiyan, means campaigning for information and employment right. And third is MKS, Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangharsh. And the last is PUCL Rajasthan also is very active in this regard. And one, not only these are state level civil society NGO, there are district level also. For example, Bikaner having a very good NGO and civil society on the RTI, that is Urmul Trust. So now, and last point regarding the positive. Recently, to celebrate the 30 years of the RTI movement or that philosophy, RTI philosophy, the blue lake statue is like set up there, established in the village or town where the RTI movement began, especially Byawar in Ajmer. The Byawar from my hometown is only 80 kilometers, and many times I visited there. So this movement, this statue are recently established, and all the people's name, those were involved in the RTI movement, mentioned is written in the statue, and is a kind of a great symbol of your legal weapon, your mature democracy. So with all these words, I thank you giving me time, and I took more time also. Thank you.
Good evening to all of you. It is my pleasure to talk about RTI Act 2005 and its status in Tamil Nadu. So I think I don't want to discuss all those rules and regulations, provisions and all. You know, throughout in India, Tamil Nadu was the first state to introduce, to enact access law called Tamil Nadu Right to Information Act, came in 1997. So that act was positive, but due to some technical problems and some of the provisions are included more in that act. So, and it was criticized very seriously by civil society organizations and intellectuals. So that's why this act could not be implemented in a true spirit and right up. Then the movement after the okay, what next page? I think this was the one. So then the government of India came in 2005 RTA Act. Okay, and then whatever provisions are given in the act, the Tamil Nadu government has constituted state level information commission, and also the state government provided state commission, Tamil Nadu state chief information commissioners and the state information commission. So they were appointed in the year 2005. Then I was looking at the data from 2005 to 2008. So there are no many cases. Say for example, from 2005 to 2008, Tamil Nadu government, Tamil Nadu State Information Commission received 85,105 RTA applications received by the Tamil Nadu State Information Commission from 2005 to 2008. And then there are many cases like 860 appeals were incurred, both petitions and public information officers concerned. And then the remaining cases, almost 55,536 applications were disposed of by providing information. Then Tamil Nadu Information Commission also issued so-cause notice for 608 cases for imposing penalty, and also this commission recommended almost 148 cases under this act, and then they have imposed also penalty for 122 public authorities. And then next is out of 85, more than 85 cases, there are many cases, almost 1,205 cases they went for second appeals and no appeals. And then Tamil Nadu is the only state is having maximum appeal to the Information Commission, and also this commission has received so much. Say for example, in the year 2008 itself, they received almost that 41,520 appeals in the year, only 1 year, from the year 2018. So why I am saying these figures, it is very clear that one can be assumed that there are many people, they are using RTA. They are interested to use RTA, but and also, but at the same time, we cannot deny that, we cannot presume that at the lower level, the conditions are different. Okay, when we go to the local level officers, the officials, they will look at us differently. They will look at us as enemies when we ask information. So that is the situation happening in Tamil Nadu till today. But on the other hand, we can say that okay, Tamil Nadu from I have collected data from 2005 to till 2018 till yesterday, and in spite of all the introduction and all from the figures, I want to highlight in the year from 2008 to, you can see this from 2009 to 2015. Okay, during this year, there are number of applications received from these departments. So these are the departments, they are coming at the top level. So why you can see next one. This is during 2009. There are these are the departments I have selected. They are coming at the top level, and there are so much the concerned department they receive so many applications within 1 year during 2009. Then you can go to next. we may interpret that why the people are coming forward for getting more information. So we may say that, okay, the public, they want to use this, they want to use this act in order to get more information regarding this department. One thing. Then second thing, we can say that the people, okay, they may not get information about this department. Okay, and the third thing is, they on this department, they may not, okay, update their informations in their website. So these are the maybe reasons the people, they are using, they are applying more applications to this department. So whatever may be the reason, we have to, I can suggest that, okay, all these departments, they should update their information regarding their program, policies, whatever may be, so that it will be friendly to the people. People can access, the people can use this act. So whatever we criticize, the negative point and all, but there are some good points. But it is depending upon how we are using this act. That is in our hand. So the government of India, they have come with this act, they give it to us, but it is up to us. Whether we use it positively, definitely we can get positive impact. And also, this act has some positive impact with regard to water supply, social services, community development, women welfare, child welfare, tribal welfare, the higher education, school education, revenue department, and then Panchayat Raj, rural development. So people, they are coming to the department, they are applying RTA under this act. Okay, so from this data, we can come to know that Tamil Nadu is working towards positive way. Okay, and then positive way. And moreover, and then in the year 2016, we can see, the second appeals, okay, they have received 10,497 cases in the year 2016, and then out of which 9,362 cases they disposed, and then 1,135 cases are pending as of 31/12/2016. Then the complaint these cases is pending around 468, and then complaint petitions received in the year 547, and then there are disposed this much cases, and as of now 31/12/2016 this much cases are pending. Okay, then it will carry forward to the next year. Okay, the next, and then this is same cases in the year 2017 they have received this thing. Okay, and then till yesterday I have collected some data, almost 1,234 cases they have given judgment by the Chennai High Court. Okay, that is your information also. We must know how the RTA is working towards the people. Okay, and then what are the positive challenges? Positive facilities for the people, which is and then this commission, Tamil Nadu State Information Commission, they have full website. Okay, we can access day-to-day information. That is one positive aspect. They are giving facilities to all the people. And the second thing is reception desk also available in the office. And then third is email. I have received so many email queries. They have given answer, which is working so good in Tamil Nadu. And then they have this commission has installed video conferencing facility also for inquiring appellates who are away from the main city. Okay, and then file tracking mechanism also installed, which can reduce the pending cases. Okay, and then one more important thing is that Tamil Nadu State Information Commission have made some arrangements. They have arrangements that persons who are requested, who are applied under RTA Act. Okay, this is not nowhere in India, only in Tamil Nadu they have arranged this as this arrangement. This is welcome to the differently abled persons. Yeah. And then another thing is, and also I want to highlight some of the experiences with regard to grassroots level experiences in Tamil Nadu. I think, shall we discuss some of the okay.
Because we are late by 17 minutes.
Just because okay. Because I have done focus group discussion 2-3 years back. So then I have come with some many perceptions from the rural people that I want to highlight in front of our students and all. Okay, so from the focus group discussion, it was found that rural people are not aware of RTI. And also I have go through from the annual reports from 2005 to till 2018. Most of the cases they have applied from the urban areas. Okay, from rural areas, there are very less number of applications. Why? Because the rural people they are not aware of it. Okay, and even if they know, they don't know how to use it, how to claim the entitlement. Okay, that is there. And also whenever even I also went 2-3 times to the office at the local level, they are looking at us, why you have come? Why you have come? Then I said, I want some information. We don't have, you go to other office. They are directing me to go to next. Okay, because I have done my PhD in Madurai Corporation. I have visited many times, but they are not willing to provide information, even though we have the right to claim our claim information. So that was happening in almost all the areas in Tamil Nadu at the rural level. Okay, and then next is I have worked through all the data and the Tamil Nadu State Information Commission. They can handle so many cases. Every year they are receiving more than 1 lakh. Even in some years they have received 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs also. And then most of the cases they are receiving and they are handling it, and they are in some cases they are imposing penalty also, and in some cases they have taken disciplinary action against public information officers. Okay, and then in spite of all the positive from this we can come to know that it is clear that they are working. They really seriously they are working forward. They are working for the people. They have taken action. They have imposed penalty some of the cases, and then they have collected they have collected the imposed penalty areas. And then one more thing is that this from 2005 onwards till today, this commission is working in rented building, and they are also having some problems, lack of no inquiry halls, lack of no parking space, and the lack of no staff, and the lack of no other infrastructure. But still they are no carrying their activities. And also due to lack of efficient record management system, I think we all know that in large number of cases, public information officers face difficult to get accurate and easy access of information from the concerned department. The government could therefore consider the strengthening of record management system in the department. And one more thing is that non-availability of basic infrastructure. This is also found that in large number of cases, departments, public information officers do not have photocopies, soft copies to take no copy of the documents. No, so it is under hurdle before RTA implementation. And then another is only 2 minutes, sir. And then in the website, there are no annual reports. No, they have published in till 2014, but all other new informations they given, they uploaded in the website, sir. Okay, so I may conclude that this whatever the problems coming up, okay, we have to overcome. This tool, RTA tool, is one of the tool, okay, for achieving good governance. It can be to achieve no accountability, transparency, smart to achieve smart governments. Okay, but no, it is in our hand. We can use how far we are using this instrument for no positive developmental aspects and all that. I want to emphasize that here. Thank you.
Madam Vinani would like to respond. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes.
This is just to aid to exactly what we discussed today. The intention was to look at a little beyond the act, but what has happened after 12 years. The thing is that still we need to see that so motor disclosure things, how to improve the so motor disclosure in the public domain by different tools. Number 1 is also your academic pursuit to understand what are the gaps there. After 12 years, why it is such a situation, it is not coming to the public domain. So to improve a system, the participation of all sectors is very important. And you must, this should be my message to you, that you feel good and you feel important for yourself that you can contribute. So there are a lot of space to take your interest and feel important and contribute to this process. Since things are changing also, there are 2-3 things about Odisha I'd like to mention. Number 1 is that Odisha has also given some very important order. Number 1 is about the ensured postal service. In this experience with also other states, when the PIO used to send the letter, they send it through the process server or ordinary post, which never reaches the appellant. Whereas government, Odisha, there is one from the Odisha Information Commission that all correspondence related to RTI should be done through the ensured postal services. This is number 1. It is and the revenue also, we have made it clear that the PIO should make and suggest the appellant or information seeker, those especially the Deputy Department of mentioned, there are certain documents which has to be given by certified copy. So this clarity must be given by the PIO that the information is available. If available, then those has to be obtained through the certified copy. So these are the 2 small things I mentioned. There are many such things we need to understand to make the law implementable. Then yes, we have every right to have our freedom of speech by saying lot of things which are impacting negatively on the people's mind, but yes, in the same way also we have that equal responsibility to suggest how to improve it. All society, all globally, whatever has since taken place, it is because of suggesting how to improve it. Because suppose this university or your professor, he is only one, but when he is getting any good result from the performance, it is the participation of all those who are with him or her. So it is not only one can do it, but it is your contribution, because this country has 125 crores of people, so 125 crores demands are there. So how to collect it and make this constitution, this democracy workable for people is in your hand. So understand it, contribute, participate, and good luck.